Okie dokie, we are on air, it says here on my screen. And that is the best news of the night so far. And there we are. It's STC time, Sim Racing Team Challenge. We are already in the game here. We are already at Trois-Rivieres in French Canada, or Francophone Canada. It's the STC Monaco, somebody said. It's a very, very tight street circuit. And I suppose we're following position number 1, and just to give you a rundown of the field so that you know where everybody is. Position number 1. Thanks, Jose, for putting us back online after some serious trouble here that we had with the technology. Mike Simeon, he set the pole. He set the fastest time in the qualification. He was on pole, and he's now leading the race safely. But there is somebody who is pretty fast as well, and that is Martijn van Bommel. Martijn van Bommel of the Flying Dutchman in the orange Corvette, taking that big monster through its paces here at Trois-Rivieres and setting a blistering pace as well. He is in position number 2. In 3, we see a huge fight. Göran Johansson fighting against Emil Selberg in 4 for Waterblue Racing. And Selberg, make no mistake, came from 7 on the grid. He's up at 4 already, and there's way to go for Emil here at Trois-Rivieres. So I suppose we are seeing, if everything works out nicely, a podium for Waterblue Racing tonight. But let's see. At the moment, Selberg is stuck behind Göran Johansson, who was also 3 on the grid. So the first 3 didn't change positions. Selberg, the first mover here on the grid. But we're leaving these 2, even though it's a big fight, because we really want to show everybody where their guys are, where their team members are, where their friends are. It's Gregory de Graaf for the Black Rebels in the Martech GT40 in position number 5. And you can see cars already being lapped here because 1 lap here is very short. The qualification time that Simeon set was something like 58 seconds and then 7 or 4 tenths of a second, so under a minute here for 1 lap. In 6, Nicola Dorigatti for the Chorus Online, and that is up 3 positions from the qualification. In 7, Alexandre Gaetano for AB Racing in the mighty black and yellow Celine. Nathan Aljo dropped some position. He's in 8. He was in 5 in the lineup, and he's for Game Racer Flat Out Club. Then he is followed very closely by Martin Kryenbrink of the Flying Dutchman, second car. So we have both the top contenders here fighting each other, but let's make no mistake, this is Aljo is running for the junior team, so his points won't count for Game Racer Flat Out, who are leading the table at the moment. So good position there for Kryenbrink. Then in 10, there's a whole train here. Alessio Lucchesi leading the train down that straight called Rue de Colonne, and he is attacked by Reggie Blaine for Torrent Motorsports in the Gumpert, and the 2 of them are followed by Mikael Larsson, who is one of the guys doing all this in 3D. If you didn't know, you can actually buy a nifty little glasses. You need the correct screen, of course, and then an extra program that will put Race 07 into 3D. And he says it works absolutely perfectly and gives you just that extra little bit of information that you sometimes need on the track. And there's Adam Shaw in position 13, and he is the second of the Game Racer Flat Out, and so he is definitely trying to get past these other 2 or 3. And I'm sorry, but I think he was in 15. He was in 15 in the qualification, but other than... I've got the positions up to 16, 17, but that's when all hell broke loose here because of our technical problems. So I'm afraid I don't have the other qualification positions. Shaw now passed Mikael Larsson, and Larsson really had to slow down mightily there. Both of them, they're followed by Daniel Beck. He should be way up more front for Guppklubben because they are title contenders as well. And Daniel, it seems, is... plowing through the field from the back on. He was in 8 at the start, so he must have lost some positions in the first laps. Then in 15, Erling Böhmer for the Guppklubben junior team, Guppklubben UD, and he has just been lapped by the race No, sorry, he's about to lap. One of the Game Racer Flatout Club guys. Mario Peixoto for Sonic in 16, followed by Harald Stadler for the Black Rebels in 17, who is in turn followed by a blue flag guy by Theo de Bruyn, taking our pink Pagani Zonta out here onto the streets of Trois-Rivieres, which incidentally is called the poetic poetry capital of Quebec. So if you feel like poetry, go ahead, quote it. Anyway, there's 19, Pedro Luro for Sonic, followed by 20, Björn de Haas for Flying Dutchman Development, about to be lapped by his teammate from the senior team, and 21, Christian Mancini for AB Racing, 22, Per Acterios, and we see lots of contact here to the walls. I hope that all of these virtual cars will make it through the night here at Trois-Rivieres. Track is really very tight indeed. 23, my mate Chris Sykes at Torrent Motorsports in the green version of the Gumpert. And in 24, another mate, Bruno Sousa Ferreira for the water blue, and he is in the black version of the Pagani Zonta. And then down in 25, Ken Bell, last man standing, I suppose, for Game Racer Flatout Club. Yes, that means we seem to have lost one of the people in the lineup, because we had 26 guys here for the start of the race, and we are down to 25. So that was your first rundown of the grid. Camera's moving in the direction of Emil Selberg in 5, because remember the last time where we started our rundown, he was hard attacking position number 3, Göran Johansson, but now we find him dropped one position, and he is following now Gregory de Graaf of the Black Rebels. So there must have been a little incident somewhere along the line. Maybe Selberg missed his breakpoint, maybe there was a bit of a push and a shove, maybe there was a problem with one of the lapped opponents here. Whatever the cause, Selberg is down 5. He's following Gregory de Graaf, and it looks as if he doesn't quite have the speed that he had. And both of them are in turn closely followed by Dorigatti, who's followed by Gaetano. So that's a nice group of 4 here, rather evenly spaced, and players are well advised to take a bit of, care here, especially at the early stages of the race. We're only 15 minutes into Trois-Rivieres meet here, and they still have to do 75 minutes on this very, very, very tight, twisty and turn tag. And let me tell you, I've run on this track before, also in tournament conditions, and there really is no rest for the wicked out there. If you're not in a battle with the guy in front, well, then there's somebody from behind who's wanted to pass right now, or if that is not the case, you are in a lapping maneuver, either on the receiving end or on the other end. And right now we can see that Selberg is running up to a group of cars that is also being lapped by de Graaf. That's Chris Sykes for the team Torrent Motorsports, and that is also for AB Racing, Christian Mancini. So both of them are being lapped now. Ooh, and Chris Sykes goes into the tires there and very nearly takes out Selberg as he's about to lap him. So that is one of the most dangerous aspects of this course here. It's not by bad will or by not being able to do it that lapping becomes a problem. It's just that the track is so utterly narrow that the smallest mistake in this lapping maneuver can cause serious havoc and has serious consequences for both the guy being lapped and the guy lapping. So there's a huge pack of cars here together. And we also see Göran Johansson in 3 at the front of this pack. Selberg now passing one of the guys from Flying Dutchman Development, and of course online player tries to slip through, doesn't have a chance, and just try to slip through before this port, which is called Port Duplessis, and it really is very, very difficult here, and it really takes 2, 3 or 4 to play this game. And we have a message on the screen that Daniel Beck is out of the game. That is seriously bad news for the Gubbklubben, because he was online tonight for the Gubbklubben, and they are title contenders here, and they now only have one of their corvettes still running at Trois-Rivieres. You can see blue flags all around the way as Emil Selberg tries to get past that Sonic player here, and there should be an opening now as Sonic slows down, and yes, Selberg expertly slips past. That was a very clean maneuver there, and so they are very nearly done now with that group of 3 or 4 guys in position 19, 20, 21, 22, I suppose, and they now have a bit of free track right in front of them. There's yellow flags out as well, I can see, so let's hope there's no trouble in that corner that they go through now. Ooh, and Selberg now. There was a problem for De Grief, and Selberg is now really hot on his tail, and Selberg tries to attack on the outside, but there's a right-hander coming up, so De Grief can fight back, and Selberg now trying to get the throttle down, and yes, he can actually manage to slip past on the inside. What a fantastic move, but De Grief will fight back. He is now on the inside, and he just manages to squeeze past. Ooh, in real life I wouldn't have dared to put just a playing card between that wall there and Gregory De Grief's Martek. That was so close indeed. Selberg now sliding all over the place. This is not good for your tires, Emil, and they will have to last for another 30 minutes before you can switch to better ones. Fortunately for everybody, forecast is dry, and that means that at least you can more or less safely go around here. We had a couple of damp races here at Trois-Rivieres, and let me tell you, that is hell defined nice and clearly. Well, shall say, you're with me, of course. I didn't have time to introduce you today because of our rough start to the broadcast here, so finally everything working fine on your side.
Yeah, well, I have a computer crash this week, so my usual computer is dead. So I'm doing it with my backup one, yes, and the reserve is really old and slow, and it's been a headache. But at least it seems it's working now, so I guess that's enough.
Yep. Ever had a competition at Trois-Rivieres yourself?
No. I actually never raced any of the STC version of the tracks. I did some laps. No, I did some laps to test them, but I don't know any other championship that uses Trois-Rivieres, to be honest.
No, never seen it. I didn't know that. I knew the track from Le Mans, because the American Le Mans series took part there in the late 90s, early 2000s for a couple of years. But right now it seems to be more or less out of use. And talking here, we see Emil Selberg, if we still follow him, and he is now very attacking De Grief, and De Grief is defending for all it's worth, and they're running up to Ken Bell, and Ken Bell gets out of the way. Very nicely done there, and Selberg must be quite mad now, because he really had an opportunity to slip past, and De Grief just one way or the other managed to squeeze back in and to block him, and Selberg now furiously hunting down De Grief, trying to get the upper hand in that battle here. That is the biggest battle on the grid in the top 10, so you're not really losing out. Well, you're of course losing out on much other action further down the grid, but this is really very close racing indeed. And look at the speed the two of them have, because Göran Johansson, who is no slouch, cannot get away from them, even though they are fighting like mad for this position number 4 and 5. Selberg now maybe to make another move. He can always take a better line out of that turn number 1, but it doesn't really help him because De Greef blocks anything there is into turn 2. Let's see, they're going past the Porte du Plessis now and out onto the long straight, which is called Boulevard du Carmel. And I can actually see that the sky is getting darker, so we may be in for a short shower in the next 10 minutes or so. I suppose nothing serious because the forecast says sunny all the way through, but look at the sky. It is really, really getting dark here at virtual Trois-Rivieres. And I suppose, and now, ooh, we see lots of smoke here from the tires of De Greef. He really has trouble to go the pace, and he's really all over the place in his Martech, but it's not enough for Selberg to slip past. Selberg now across the curbs. Just goes to show you how impatient the guy is getting, but there's no way past here. He's been doing this for, I think, at least 10 laps now, at least 10 minutes. He's been following the Black Rebels Martech GT40, and there is absolutely no way past. Jose, do you know if you have any of these nice lines, of these nice messages on the back of the Black Rebels car this season?
Sorry? What do you mean?
Never mind, you used to have a message on the back of your car, something like "Eat my dust" like Tom Coronel or something like that. Do you have a message this year?
Oh yes, no, I don't think we have it this year because we changed artist.
You changed artists. Oh, okay. Yeah. And so it would be annoying for Selberg to be following one of these messages, you know, lap after lap. Oh, and now Selberg hits the wall. Lap after lap after lap. So luckily it's just a dark blue back and a rear wing, possibly with Black Rebels on it. And so right now, after that little touch of Selberg's to the wall, there's a bit of breathing space for De Greef, but it's only like 0.2 seconds that he gains, and right now Selberg is back hunting him down. And we're moving down a little bit to show you another very, very interesting fight here. That's for position 10, 11 and 12. And it certainly has an impact on the overall standings because involved in this fight and down to 12 at this point is Nathan Aljo. I saw him when you were not online, but I was already on the server. I saw him go into the wall pretty soon after the start. It was maybe about lap 2 or 3, and it seems that there's considerable damage to his front suspension after that because Nathan Aljo, one of the fastest guys here on the grid, he is losing positions bit by bit by bit. He's in a fight now with Mikael Larsson of the Blue Flag Racing in the blue and yellow incarnation of the Zonta here. And Nathan Aljo is hard-pressed to follow, let alone attack Larsson. Larsson with a mighty slide here. That's going to put Aljo into a neat position to attack, but Larsson just manages to catch it, just barely manages to catch it before Aljo can do anything. And it seems that at this point, in fact, Larsson is blocking Aljo a little. That doesn't mean he's blocking him unfair, it just means that he's not quite as fast as Aljo. And it seems that Aljo is putting the pressure on Larsson. There might be a bit of help up next because they're about to lap Ken Bell, and he might remember that Game Racer Flat Out are a team no matter whether you're in the club or in the original lineup, and then that might play into the hands of Nathan Aljo. But Larsson surely has his hands full here at, ooh, and now they're about to go past, ooh, and very nearly Aljo crashed into Ken Bell because Ken, I suppose, didn't quite see there were two opponents advancing in his rear screen, his rear view mirror, and he moved to the side. Aljo moved to the same side at the same time, but was extremely quick reflex there. He managed to just retrace his steps and go back to his original line. So, oh, and there's a stranded car there. There's a stranded car there. It might be Harald Stadler. It might be Gregory de Greef. Let me quickly, while the camera stays with the two fighting there, let me quickly check. No, it was Stadler. It was not de Greef. De Greef is still fighting in position 4. So that's a huge fight, and we see Ooh, touch there between Eljo and Larsson, as Eljo again has a better exit and tries to slip past, but Larsson is really defending for all it's worth. They're really clinging to his position, number 11, maybe trying to take home another top 10 for the blue flaggers here at Trois-Rivieres. And while these two are fighting, cameraman Jose just move up 2 positions to Nathan Eljo and what was I speaking about? Nathan Eljo and March Kreinbrink. No, I wasn't talking about Nathan Eljo the whole time. Sorry guys, my mistake. We're a bit off here. That was
Adam Shaw.
Adam Shaw, indeed. Thank you, Jose. That was Adam Shaw, and this is Nathan Eljo. So Nathan fighting Martin Kreinbrink with a Sonic car a lap down behind them. And this is also a very, very close fight here. And that's a totally different perspective. Sorry, I made a huge mistake there, mixing up Nathan Eljo and Adam Shaw. Little hint to the flat-out guys, it doesn't necessarily help that all your cars are totally wide. Well, not totally, but pretty much. Anyway, here goes. Nathan Eljo was the one who put his car into the wall. Adam Shaw was the one who had to come back from what looks like not a bad qualification, a pretty bad qualification result, because I don't have him in the top 20 for qualification. That's as far as I got, making a note before all hell broke loose here with our technical equipment. So he must have been way down, and he's now up to 11 or 12. So that is a great move there by Adam Shaw, just going through the field and trying to catch up. And ooh, Kreinbrink here with a near crash, and that gives Eljo a bit of breathing space for the time being. We can see that Chris Sykes is in the pits there, and maybe he's on a 2-pit strategy. That would be his first regular pit stop there, or maybe it's just some serious damage that he sustained somewhere along the way. I can't see the little white lines behind the cars indicating that the track is damp, so even though the sky is very much overcast, it looks as if the track is still dry. And Kreinbrink now has lost contact to Eljo just a little. There's another yellow flag out here, don't know why. So let's move someplace else. And we're moving a little way up the grid with positions number 3, 4 and 5. We have Göran Johansson, followed by Monsieur de Graef, followed by Emil Selberg. And Selberg still hasn't gotten past Gregory de Graef, but judging from the fact that they both have caught up to Göran Johansson, and they must be rather quick even though they are fighting. And now they're running up to a Gubbklubben UD contender. Don't know if it is either Acterius or the other chap, that's Erling Böhmer. Have no idea. But and I can also see that Thierry de Bruyne is in the pits. So it looks as if some of the guys are actually on a 2-stopper here, because that track really is murder for the tires with all the problems that you have in the brake zones here. And we see that this is a very, very tight fight here, and De Graef must be really sweating hard now, sweating profusely, because Selberg is all over the place. There's somebody going into the exit there, and coming back. I suppose it's Chris Sykes in the background there. And but that was no trouble for the 3 top players here, for Emil Selberg, for Gregory de Graef, and also for Göran Johansson. They're running up to Harald Stadler in the second of the Black Rebels Martex, so let's see how that works out. They need to pass him, and they need to pass him quick. Ooh, and now Selberg with a wild, wild slide. So you can see these guys, their tires are going off as well, and I wonder if they are on a 1-stop or a 2-stop strategy. Now here's the attack by De Grief. De Grief trying to attack Johan, and he goes into the wall a little, and this is the chance now for Selberg to attack. But look, everything is so tight. If you don't just do it in, I know, a tenth of a second, you absolutely have no chance at all. Ooh, touch there by Selberg to the back of De Grief, and he is now very, very close indeed. He's gonna try something on the left-hand side. I can tell you he's moving out every second now. He is indeed moving out. They're into the brick zone and he's moving back in. He is moving back in. When De Grief touches the wall. De Grief touches the wall. Selberg touches De Grief. Nowhere to go for Selberg. Nothing he could do there. Selberg now up to 4 due to that move. And they're followed by Harald Stadler. And this not De Grief. De Grief is down to 6 with a mightily banged up Martek. That might not be the end of his race, but it might be the end of a clean race for him. And Theo de Bruyne is still at the pits. That is definitely not a good sign. There must be something seriously wrong there. But he's out of the pits now, so... Ooh, the blue flag guy in me takes a deep breath of relief, a deep sigh of relief. Theo is still in the race. Well done, Theo. Emil Selberg now up to 4, and remember, he came from 7 on the grid, so he's really the guy to watch here tonight at Trois-Rivieres. Oh dear, and I'm fear I'm off the air. Let's have a look. Well, looking at SimRace TV, I can see that I'm still on air. And I just got a very panicked Jose here on my headphones, asking me whether the line was still holding. Yes, indeed, it is still holding, even though he was absent for a moment. He totally lost it, but not his line. So there we are then. Sorry for my being silent for such a long time. Just had to go into Firefox and see if we were still on air. We're still here at Trois-Rivieres, race still going on. And because you have missed a little bit of the action here, while the camera stays in one position, I'm just going to give you a rundown of the positions. We have still Mike Simeon in 1. We have Göran Johansson now in 2, because there's the pit stops starting now. We have Emil Selberg up to 3. We have Martijn van Bommel just out of the pits in 4. We have Gregory de Graaf in 5, just behind Van Bommel. We have Alexandre Gaetano in 6. We have Nicola Dorigatti in the pits in 7. Nathan Aljo in the pits in 8. And Reggie Blaine out of the pits in 9. Well, hasn't been to the pits yet. In 10, it is Adam Shaw. In 11, it is Marcin Kreinbrink. In 12, Erling Böhmer. In 14, Mario Peixoto. In 15, Alessio Lucchesi for the Chorus Online with a mightily banged-up Audi. In 16, Björn de Haas. In 17, Christian Manzini. In 18, Pedro Luro. In 19, Per Akperius. In 20, Bruno Sousa Ferreira. In 21, Ken Bell. In 22, Harald Stadler, and these two are fighting for position very closely. 23, Chris Sykes. 24, Theo De Bruyn, who had a serious problem with the pit stops. I saw him in the pits at least 3 times, so, geez, Theo, you must have run into some serious trouble there with our pit crew. We need to talk to them later on after the event here at Trois-Rivieres. And as I'm scrolling on my screen back through the field, Emil Selberg is now in the pits. Well, everybody is now in the pits. I can see that Mikael Larsson is also still out. He must have slipped past the pit wall just as my camera was in the pits. And he is now up to 4 because of all the pit stops, because he hasn't been to the pits yet. Simeon is out again. Simeon is out in 2, and this might be a crucial phase in the race because he is mightily stuck in traffic behind 4 contenders actually, and these 4 are fighting for for position. So Simeon really has his work cut out there, but he's passed now. It's only 3, not 4, sorry there. But Simeon has passed him now. Simeon running in 2, and it's Martijn van Bommel running in 1, and he still needs to pit. So Simeon is the virtual race leader here, with Alexandre Gaetano now in the pits at 3, but that is also not possibly quite the right position. Let's wait a moment before everybody comes back out of the pits and we have a real classification here. So let's give some airtime to Martijn van Bommel in position number 1, because he is the guy leading the race at the moment. Well, got some interesting information from Chaussee. He says Van Bommel has already been in the pits, so he is a real race leader. Martijn van Bommel, yes, that makes sense, because he was the guy running in position number 2. And again, it looks as if the Corvette is much, much faster in the pits. And again, it looks as if the Koenigsegg is showing a certain weakness in the pits there. And Mike Simeon now has to play cat-up to Martijn van Bommel. And, well, we've seen before how difficult it is to actually pass anyone on this track here on tight Trois-Rivieres in French-speaking Canada in Quebec. So sorry, Marcin, we missed your great moment when you actually slipped past Mike Simeon, because we were having our technical trouble again here. Let's put it down to these dark, thunderstormy clouds we see in the background here. And it looks to me now as if maybe the track is getting just... Yes, the track is indeed damp. I can see those white stripes behind Martijn van Bommel's Corvette. So the track is indeed getting damp. And I wonder whether this is playing into the hands of Flying Dutchman or playing into the hands of the Koenigsegg of Game Racer flat out. I'm not quite sure. I suppose that the Koenigsegg is just a little bit better under these conditions, but that's just my idea. And And as we follow these two, we can see that Van Bommel and Simeon, their distance is pretty much the same. It is, it's not that Simeon can really catch up quickly to Van Bommel. If he's making any headway, it must be step by step, little by little. Yes, he is coming closer, but it's more in the tenths of seconds rather than whole seconds outright. And there's also some rain now coming out. There's some rain coming out here at Quebec, at Trois-Rivieres, and the track is bound to get still a little more wet. At this point, it's not going to be too difficult. Well, it is definitely difficult on a tight track like this, but if the rain's out for sure, if the rain's out in force in maybe 5 minutes or so, it's going to be really, really, really difficult, and one or two of the guys might think about putting on some of those rain tires. Right now, I suppose they'll all be out on slicks, and if I were them, I wouldn't change at this point. I would still wait, but we also see that the cars are still following very, very clean lines. At least the race leaders here are showing no problems at all with the damn track. But it may be especially more difficult if you're in a fighting group of 3 or 4 further down the grid. It might be much more difficult than up here in front, where the racing line is pretty clear, is pretty clean, and there's little traffic. And indeed, Simeon is closing in. Simeon is about to finally close the gap to Martijn van Bommel, and he is then going to start harassing him in, well, possibly a friendly manner, but possibly a very direct manner, saying, listen, I want that position number 1 back, and I want it fast. While we stay with these two, let me give you a vocal rundown then. It's Johansson in 3, Nicola Dorigatti in 4, Alexandre Gaetano in 5, Emil Selberg down to 6 of the pit stops, followed closely by Nathan Aljo in 7, Reggie Blaine in 8, he profited from the whole Tollebaho, Gregory de Graaf down in 9, Elling Böhmer up in 10, fantastic for him, Adam Shaw up in 11, Mario Peixoto up in 12, and fighting very closely indeed with Mikael Larsson in 13, Alessio Lucchesi in 14, Marcin Kreinbrink in the pits again at 15, Pedro Luro at 16, Björn de Haas at 17, Per Acterius at 18, Christian Manzini in 19, Bruno Sauso Ferreira in 20, Harald Stadler in 21, Chris Sykes in 22, Ken Bell in the pits again, or maybe for the first time, we don't know, at 24, and it looks, and Theo de Bruyne in 23 has just passed Ken Bell in the pits, so still both blue flaggers in the race. Let's move back to position number 1 and 2, because that's definitely where the music is playing. And Van Bommel now very closely followed by Mike Simeon. And let me tell you that while I went through the grid, we have a couple of these really close fights. For example, Mikael Larsson is having a seriously close fight for his position further down the grid in 13 and 14. And that was a close maneuver here by Van Bommel. He's trying to slip past that other Koenigsegg there, and that's a teammate of Mike Simeon, so it's a game racer flat out Koenigsegg, and he should really make way now so as not to hinder the top 2. And indeed, he touches his teammate, he touches Mike Simeon. Oh dear, what a misjudgment there by the second of the game racer flat out. Guys, that is Adam Shaw. Obviously, just as had happened before, he didn't quite know there were 2 cars in a pack going past. He thought that Van Bommel was past, okay, that was it. And then he moved back in and he touched Mike Simeon. And now they're passing Theo de Bruyne, and they're passing the second of the Flying Dutchman, Marcin Kreinbrink. And Kreinbrink is very, very, very slow indeed. He must have serious trouble on his Corvette. And De Bruyne lets everybody through, no problem there. And De Bruyne now also lets Adam Shaw pass, because De Bruyne is down, I think, 3 laps at this point, not quite sure though. And Simeon's still hunting down Martijn van Bommel, with Johansson still in 3. And here comes the first attack of Simeon. He is very close now indeed. This is what we call striking distance. Striking distance for Simeon. I wonder where he will make a move. He seems to be much, much faster at this point, with the track still being damp. They're both into T1 now, and I think he's simply trying to intimidate. At this point, he's trying to intimidate Martijn van Bommel, trying to make him make that mistake. They're running up to Chris Sykes in the Torrent Gumpert, and Chris is moving out of the way. My goodness, that must be a dreadful sight. The race leaders really zooming up to you as you go under Pont du Plessis, and Chris does the best he can and moves out of the way quickly. And Van Bommel now actually profited from that situation and has opened something like a 20-meter gap between him and Mike Simeon, but Simeon closes in again, and let's hope that Sykes is not losing it there in the background. He looked as if he had almost lost his breakpoint there, but he's not going into neither Simeon nor Van Bommel, so both of them safely passed. And Adam Shaw trying to stick to their speed, trying to hang on and maybe profit from a situation that arises as these two now run up to Waterblue Racing Guy, and that is Bruno Sousa Ferreira. And I suppose Portugal, judging by name, and they're closing in on him. And they should be passed before or after the next turn. I suppose right after the next turn. No problem here for Van Bommel. He's speeding out now of that turn number 6 down the Rue de Cologne. And Sousa Ferreira is nicely making way there for him. And see if he... Yes, Simeon slips through as well. That was close indeed, but Sousa Ferreira judged that very expertly, and both of them have no trouble. And now Simeon is again very close, and we see Emil Selberg in the wall just ahead of these two. Emil Selberg with some serious trouble there, stuck, it looks, on one of the curbs. And it would have been good for Sousa Ferreira to give him a little push. And here comes Simeon, and he does give a push. He gives a push to Martijn van Bommel, but Van Bommel stays the line. Stuck like glue to the line he is, and he is not intimidated by Mike Simeon. He is definitely not intimidated. He must be quite mad at this point, because that was quite a big shove Simeon gave him there. Simeon did everything he could at that point to not really head into him in T1. But still, he hit Bommel quite hard in the rear. Let's hope that Van Bommel's car took that nicely and gently. Let's hope that that rear suspension is still working the way it should.
Yeah, in a track like this, Eckhart, you have to be very careful, but at the same time a bit more aggressive than usual, or you will never pass.
Yep. Indeed, yeah, Mike is really in a tight spot now, because if he moves too aggressively, everything will be lost for both of them. But if he doesn't move aggressively, well, he can go for the next 40 minutes behind Martijn van Bommel, because obviously Bommel is very, very quick indeed. And so I think he really has to wait for that chance in a lapping maneuver. But right up to this point, Van Bommel has been marvelous in the lapping maneuvers, just timing them excellently. And also all the guys in the back have been playing along nicely. So look at this here. They passed the ABR just as they go down that long straight with no problem whatsoever. So I agree, Jose. It is really difficult for Mike Simeon to not look the fool and to still make a move that sticks. And he is faster. He's definitely faster by, I would say, at least a tenth of a second every lap, maybe even more. But still, it's so narrow here, it's so tight, and there's really virtually no chance to get past. And let's not forget, it's a damp track, so that makes the brake zones even more dangerous, doesn't it?
Yes, but I don't think there was big issue. I mean, it was only a very short shower and
yep.
not very big one.
No, sky is blue now again, and track should be drying off now quickly. And as I'm speaking, track is indeed almost dry now in most places. They still show these white lines. I think, at least for me, should say that the problem is realizing when the track starts getting damp, because you don't really constantly your back view mirror and see these white lines behind you. And in front of you, it's difficult to see, at least at race 07, whether the track is actually damp or not. Doesn't quite show, does it?
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, one of the things that differences more the sim racing from the reality, if not the biggest one, is that usually the conditions in sim racing variate in a very predictable way. Like meanwhile in reality, everything is chaos. I mean, the tires work one way in one lap, and in the next lap, for some reason, sometimes you never know. Maybe that precise tire had a layer of worse or less grippy material under the one you wasted in the lap before, and in the next lap you feel less grip, and then it recovers. And you can see that in every racing TV, that sometimes a car starts to go slow for some reason, and then it recovers, and then it's there is graining, and so.
Yep, we're still a long way. Still a long way
exactly.
from that in a sim, aren't we?
Exactly. In that sense, sim racing is very far from real life, and also sim racers' mentality, because we used to like, if we know we can do 1:42.7 in one track, we want the same conditions for 80 laps to make that time and have a quiet race. While real life drivers, I think they are more habituated to deal with a continuously changing environment.
Yep. And right now we saw that Simeon just narrowly missed the chance he was waiting for. They were running up to Reggie Blaine. Reggie didn't quite get... Oh, and now Simeon touches Van Bommel for a real... This was a real hit there in the back of Martijn Van Bommel. This time I think Mike simply misjudged how early Martijn would brake for that. They were running up to it, Reggie Blaine, I was just telling. And Reggie didn't pass at once, but rather decided to stick to his line, because he's one of the rather quick guys too. And then Martijn had to brake more than he wanted, touched the inside wall, spun just a little, but just got out onto the driving line as Mike Simeon came up. And that excess speed that Mike had then resulted in that crash they just had, that little crash there. But it looks as if that Corvette is really sturdy, because Martijn Van Bommel shows absolutely no sign of slowing here, even though Simeon has been crashing from the back 2 times now, has touched him 2 times. One, I suppose, was a rather light touch, but that was a serious one right now, with Simeon there going in. But unfazed, I would say, Martijn Van Bommel still stays in position number 1, and what a huge fight that is.
Yeah, Simeon, of course, he knows he has the pace to win the race.
Again he tries and say, go on.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what we can see now, right? I think he knows he has to make the pass, because he knows he's faster, and he probably knows if he makes the pass he will win the race.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's starting to be a bit anxious, I think.
I think so too. And he may be running a bit short on patience by now, because he's been doing this now for 20 minutes or so. And for once we have a bit of a gap now. Maybe he's simply taking a little break. I think from time to time, also as the one who's trying to do the lapping maneuver, you simply have to, concentrate again, get back to your original rhythm, because you're so caught up in the fight that you tend to overdo it from time to time.
Yes, yeah, but...
so it looks... Yep.
No, sorry. I can't.
Jump in.
I was saying that at the same time, Mike really needs to do something different, because he was trying to be patient and look for a mistake or for a gap in from 20 minutes. and was not possible. So I think he really has to try something different if he wants to pass. That's
yeah,
why
if I read it correctly now, the new strategy is take it a bit more easy and then come back in the last 20 minutes. I don't know, but look at that. There's a gap now, and he is not closing the gap as quickly as he closed it the laps before. Whenever a gap opened up, he was back within half a lap or so. And right now this gap stays, so maybe he has decided, rather than having an incident report at the end of the race, because there's maybe a third or a fourth incident that doesn't work out as neatly as the two we've seen so far, which were really, well, not good, but not bad either, I would say. So rather than risking that, he stays in a position to, to keep his strength for the last 20 minutes, for the last 10 minutes maybe even, and then do one big push for the overall win. Because right now I can see him letting off the speed a little. It might also be that his front suspension actually sustained more damage in that little crash they had than Martijn's rear suspension. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. But the touch was more like a push, like a crash, you know?
Yep, indeed. More like a push, definitely.
Yeah, it was controlled. So, there was a TBR car stopped there.
Ah, okay. Not good. So, with the action a bit slowed down, I think it's time for a rundown off the grid again. We have about 30 minutes to go here at Trois-Rivieres, which means 2/3 of the lap done and 1/3 still up. So, Jose, should we do a rundown from 1 to, I think, 23 still in the running?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much indeed. So, Martijn van Bommel, similar of him, in position number 1. Mike Simeon, erstwhile race leader and a qualification pole sitter, and now in position number 2. In 3, Göran Johansson, who simply doesn't have the speed tonight to do anything further advancing to the front, but who is also in a class of his own if you look at the gap behind him, because the next car you see there is Theo de Bruyn, a couple of laps down for the Blue Flag Racing. And then there's a huge gap to number 4, and what a pleasant surprise there. Nicola Dorigati of the Course Online sitting in 4 from 9 in qualifying. So that must have been a nearly flawless race for him, and his Audi looks absolutely spick and span, so no damage to that car at all. In 5, also a great result for another team from Southern Europe, Alexandre Gaetano for AB Racing from Portugal, sitting in 5, and on the grid he was positioned in 10. So he moved basically door to door with Dorigati up the grid. He's followed very closely indeed by Nathan Eljo in 6, and right now we see that Chris Sykes, Torrent Motorsports number 2, is out of the race. Too bad there. Nathan Eljo in 6, very close to position number 5 and fighting. A bit of a gap to position number 7. Monsieur Gregory de Graef of the Black Rebels, but he was further down, so he has recovered a few of the positions. Reggie Blaine up in 8 for Torrent Motorsports, up for some good points there, and up from 12 in the qualification results, so fair race for him as well. That's the red Torrent Motorsports car. Adam Shaw in 9, a guy I had huge problems placing earlier on. Sorry again, Adam. Sorry, Nathan. Mixed the two of your racers up and mixed up who was running for which team. So Adam Shaw for the Game Racer Flat Out, Nathan Eljo for the Game Racer Flat Out Club. Emil Selberg down to 10, and he was up to 4, so we saw him in the wall, we saw him stuck on the curb. All that must have taken a lot of time and possibly also some damage, and he is hunted down by Mikael Larsson for Blue Flag Racing in another Zonta, Pagani Zonta here, so they are actually racing for position. That must be neat indeed, racing with a car of the same build, so it's really a totally even battle here between the two for positions number 10 and 11. And just judging from the few turns we've seen, it looks as if Larsson is just slightly faster than Selberg, but it also looks as if Selberg's... Oh, and there goes Selberg into the wall again! Oh dear, just as we're watching, Selberg loses the Pagani, obviously due to some damage that he sustained before, and now he's back on track in 11, and oh dear, what a crash that was. Let's move to 12. There's another car that has been hit mightily in the rear, Alessio Lucchesi, and his Audi is missing part of the rear arrow work, but still a good position for Alessio Lucchesi. 13, Erling Böhmer for Gubklubben UD, about to lap his teammate. 14, Mario Peixoto for Sonic, and he's up from 16, so also good result for him. Then in 15, second of the Sonics, Pedro Luro. So they're both in the points and both well on the points, so that's going to be possibly one of the best results they've had so far. First season of STC for this team here. Up we move to 16, Björn de Haas of the Flying Dutchman development. He just lets Mike Simeon past, and it looks as if Simeon is still hunting down Flying Dutchman's number 1. Yes, because Marcin Greinbrink is in 17 in a totally banged up Corvette. He really has problems keeping that car to the grey stuff. Must have serious suspension trouble, and may be advisable for the team later on to let Greinbrink slip past Björn de Haas for points. Anyway, Peractarius between them. He just managed to pass Greinbrink there. And now Arcterius is in the wall and Greinbrink regains his position. Then in 19, Christian Mancini for AB Racing. In 20, Bruno Sousa Ferreira for the Waterloo Racing. Going through T1 here, and judging by that movements there, he also has trouble with his suspension, because he does have trouble in the turns, moving into the turns it looks. 21, Theo de Bruyne, another Zonta, so both blue flaggers still in the race, which would be nice at the end of the race. 22, Harald Stadler, both black rebels still in the race, but him with one crashed rear light, so he must have been in trouble before. And then Ken Bell in 23, and he was last guy on the grid before. Let's see, yes indeed he is. So 23, still in the race here at Trois-Rivieres, and let's go back to the fight at the front. And up at the front, it's still the same picture. It's Mike Simeon following race leader Martijn van Bommel at what I would call a respectful distance. The way I interpret this is that Simeon, though he might be a little faster, really sees no chance to get past Martijn van Bommel. And also, even though he tried to harass him, even though he tried to put a lot of pressure on him, mind you, from my perspective, it was all within the lines and within the bounds of fair racing. But that is up for the incident results, for the incident reports to come in and then to be judged by the community. Anyway, I think that he decided, well, there's no way I can get past that Corvette. I'm going to end up in a real incident, and I might be throwing a lot of points away. I'd rather stick to position number 2, even though it hurts. I'd rather stick to position number 2 because Adam Shaw is definitely ahead of Marcin of Martin Kreinbrink, and so overall we'll definitely gain on them in the points, and that is enough for tonight. We might see a furious attack in the last laps, and it all might be wrong. There's no way to communicate, of course, with Mike Simeon. I wouldn't even want to communicate with him at this point here, because he must be so totally concentrated. And it also might be that in one of these little pushes, one of these little crashes, one of these shoves between Martijn and between Mike, the Koenigsegg suffered a bit of damage, and Mike really has trouble, for example, reaching his high speed. We never know.
I'm back, Kurt. I think maybe Mike is doing, like you said, he's waiting to the end of the race to make the last attack, waiting for Martin tires to be in worse conditions, so
yep,
he has a chance.
Yeah, could be. Ooh, and now they're running up to... Oh, and that's the chance maybe that Mike Simeon waited for, because there was a trouble there. There was a bit of trouble there, and nothing Martijn van Bommel could do, and now Mike Simeon is on the correct side. Van Bommel cuts across in a daring move, and he can't make it stick. He goes into the wall. That was too daring for Martijn van Bommel, and Simeon's pass. Oh dear, what a disaster. What a disaster for Flying Dutchman Racing. There was Emil Selberg with trouble just getting out of Porte du Plessis. He was all over the track. There was no way to go for Martijn van Bommel, no place to go at all. And nothing he could do. He had to step on the brakes, he had to take out the speed, while Simeon, who was waiting behind, lurking behind, was accelerating full speed. Van Bommel tried what he could. He tried to cut across the path. He tried to very risky break into that turn there, to turn number 6, and it didn't pay off. In fact, it made things even worse, because he went into the tires. He's now got a hugely damaged front right. Lights have been damaged, and that possibly means that suspension has been damaged as well. And now they're passing an AB racing car, and Van Bommel has no time to lose, and oh dear, that was another difficult move there. Martijn van Bommel judging that he should pass that AB racing car and that he should stick to Mike Simeon, and of course whoever it was in that Celine didn't have a clue of what was going on behind him, didn't have a clue about how close that battle was. And Martijn van Bommel now down to 2. He's been down there for 2 laps now, and look at the gap between Simeon and Martijn van Bommel. Simeon is now possibly putting everything he has, every bit of tire wear that is still there to be burned up, everything he has into the next 4, 5, 6 laps to open that gap, to keep that gap steady, and to definitely play his hand here and take his chances and try to get away from Martijn van Bommel. He's running the cleanest of possible lines. You could see that in that turn. He's just been through turn number 6, and now they're approaching Depailler. There's a Game Racer flat-out club guy fighting Emil Selberg right in front, so let's hope he can get past those two, and let's hope he's not being held up by his junior team. Junior team tries what he can to not hold him up, but it still cost him a lot, and Martijn van Bommel, but Van Bommel is way down. Van Bommel is way down, and I suppose he suffered quite some damage as he went into those tires there. They're rather solid, those tires.
Yes, it's like they have concrete in the middle.
It's more like concrete than tires, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was Nathan Eljo they were running up to, and I wouldn't want to have been in Nathan's shoes in that position there, because I suppose he was fighting Emil Selberg for position there, and he saw Mike Simeon coming up, and there was, again, on this tight track, there was no way to go. Where should he go? Other than going into a wall or into one of these zones, into one of these runoff areas. And so he tried the best he could to, on the one hand, not go too slow, on the other hand, not be in Mike's way. And it worked out in the end. But for the moment, I thought, oh my goodness, Mike Simeon is going to crash into one of his teammates. Simeon now pursuing Theo de Bruyn of the Blue Flag Racing, and he's going to slip past just as they head out of Porte du Plessis. Yes, de Bruyn makes me there for Mike Simeon. No problem there at all. And look at the distance to Van Bommel. Van Bommel was not able to cash in on the problems that Mike Simeon had. No, he now has actually has Nathan Aljo, who is a lap down, but who's still following him, and it's still on your nerves if you have your rear view mirror nicely filled by what looks like a direct opponent, but what is in fact somebody who's a lap down. Van Bommel really has his hands full now with the Corvette, and it's all he can do to just stay at least within sight of Mike Simeon, but I don't see him in striking distance for the rest of the race.
No, it doesn't seem. Simeon was faster before, and now with all this damage, Martin has really few possibilities of catching up with Mike.
Yep, indeed. Look at the way Nathan Aljo can stick to his tail and follow his pace. That shouldn't be possible. But the good thing for Martijn van Bommel is that Göran Johansson is still a long way away, about a third of a lap. So I'm just watching Johansson on my screen. He's just through T1, just to give you an impression of where he is. And that is, I mean, T1, and these two here are in 7 and 8, also, well, running up to actually 10 and 11. So rather than attacking Mike, rather than fighting off Göran Johansson, I think all that Martijn van Bommel can do at this point is consolidate his position, take home as many points as he can. Actually, if I were him, I would let that Nathan Aljo slip past and get that trouble out of the way, and so as not to make another mistake here, and then just bring it home. Well, I shall say, with the battle for the front cleared up for the moment, and having come to a decision, I suppose, for the rest of the race, let's have a last rundown. We have about 10 minutes here at Trois-Rivieres, so let's have a last rundown at Trois-Rivieres to show everybody where their teammates, where their friends, where their guys are here in the STC tonight.
Okay.
I suppose we're with number 2, Martijn van Bommel, aren't we?
We are with number 3, Göran Johansson.
Brilliant. Göran Johansson then, a steady race in number 3. He must have realized pretty early on he didn't quite have the speed tonight to head for another win. But he did the best he could. He stayed out of all trouble. From whenever I caught him on my screen, it was a very careful race by him, trying to get as many points as possible, especially since Daniel Beck is out of the race and he's the only Gupklubben contender still vying for points here at Trois-Rivieres. Let's go to position number 4. Unfortunately, none of the AB guys right behind him is in 4. No, it's Nicola Dorigatti for Course Online, and what a great result. I've said that before. What a great result for Nicola Dorigatti and the Course Online here. And I think that the Audi is kind of suited for this track. It's pretty bad on high speed, but high speed is definitely not your strong suit here. And the handling is not too bad. Nathan Aljo in 5 and still following Martijn van Bommel, but now at a slightly wider margin, at slightly more of a distance, because he is pretty much alone, nobody in front, nobody in back, so he just brings it home from here. In 6, Gregory de Graaf moving back up the grid. He was down to, I think, 9 or 10 earlier on. He was in 6 in the qualification, so he's back where he belonged, back where he started race. 7, Reggie Blaine, who just had contact there to the wall, heading out of Porte du Plessis. And Reggie is up 5 positions from 12. Well done. In 8, Adam Shaw, a fellow I mixed up earlier. Sorry again, Adam. And he is in 8, coming from, I think, something like 22 or 23, after what I consider must have been a problem in the qualification lap. So a brilliant race here by Adam Shaw, if I get these facts right, but you just put me right afterward the forum, Adam. I'd be very pleased to hear your tale. Then in 9, Mikael Larsson for Blue Flag Racing, and yes, indeed, he is in the top 10. Sorry guys, I'm a blue flagger deep down at heart, and have always been and will always be, and that just makes me so happy. Well done, Mikael from Sweden, Mikael Larsson in 10. In 9, and then in 10, Alexandre Gaetano, the AB Racing chap in the black and yellow Celine. Great race for him too. Well, he stayed in the same position. Started in 10, now in 10, so he held on to his position, which is difficult enough. In 11, we have Alessio Lucchesi in serious trouble with the slightly torn apart Audi. For Course Online, just touched the tires there that Van Bommel went into earlier. In 12, Erling Böhmer, and he has been all over the place early on. While I was zapping through the field, I saw him just in that place. He just went past now, doing a 180-degree spin, but he fortunately recovered with the Apollo Gumpert in one piece, and he is running a fair nice race here in position number 12. In 13, oh dear, and we catch him just as he's in serious trouble, and that is, I think, a sign that the tires are really wearing out now towards the end of the race. Mario Peixoto for Sonic Racing, and that guy who's just passed him, that Flying Dutchman development, is a lap down. Pedro Luro, his teammate, is in 14, and just now lapping a contender there. In 15, Martin Kreinbrink, he has recovered at least some ground after being down to 18 earlier on, but he must have some awful handling on his Corvette, because we have seen him touch the walls, going sideways, doing all kinds of stuff, and that is not usually the way Martin Kreinbrink handles the Corvette. Usually he's a chap who is very much in control, so there must be serious suspension damage after some sort of trouble early on in the race. 16, Emil Selberg, and I think the same goes for him, and look at that banged up Zonta. Especially the front seems to be completely off, and Selberg, who was running for 4th earlier on, just can't be happy to bring it back home here in the top 20. Then Björn de Haas, geez, there's not much left of that Audi. The Audi seem to be especially prone to losing parts here at Trois-Rivieres, and Björn de Haas in 17. In 18, Christian Mancini, another AB Racing Celine, going his pace, strutting his stuff. In 19, Per Acterius, following for a position. Mancini. So this is actually the closest battle on the whole grid. Per Acterius chasing down Mancini, Christian Mancini for AB Racing, and for Gupklubben UD Per Acterius. In 20, Theo de Bruyn for the blue flag, and I suppose, if I get this right, he was also 20 in the qualification, so even though he had that awful trouble with the pit stop earlier on, where I think the problem was he didn't get the right tires he asked for, but I'm not quite sure. Looked like, though, at least I saw him 2 or 3 times in the pits, and it's very difficult to get a cut warning here, so don't think it was a drive-through. I think it was a tire changing problem. De Bruyne now up to 20 again after being down to 23, or I think even 24. Harald Stadler for the Black Rebels in 21. Didn't catch much of his race though, sorry there Harald. But right now he's running in 21 for the Black Rebels, and also his car shows some serious damage on the left-hand side. Then Ken Bell in 22 for the Game Racer Flat Out Club, bringing home valuable points for that outfit. And that is the last racer on the grid. So we have 22 guys still with us, 26 there were on the grid, so we have 4 out. We have Chris Sykes out, we have Daniel Beck out, and if I see that correctly, we have I think Gaetano out? No, Gaetano is still in. I'm not quite sure about the other ones though. But those two are the ones that I can confirm. I think we have Yuri Braham out because I haven't seen him in the rundown. I haven't seen him all race. I suppose he was the one we lost early on. So Yuri, bad luck to you if it was you. Sorry about that. And we're moving to the closest fight here on the grid, and it involves my teammate Mikael Larsson of the blue flag in the Pagani Zonta here in blue and yellow, and he's defending against yellow and black against Celine of AB Racing against Alexandre Gaetano. This is the fight for 9 and 10, and this is a very intense and very, very close fight. Gaetano has been trying every single way you can try to get past in the lap just now finished, but Larsson has been defending absolutely expertly. It looks as if Gaetano is at least 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster because he is trying to get past. And they're losing time, both of them, because that Gubklubben UD car is a lap down and is still very much able to follow their pace here. And we can see both of them really stressing their tires here. There's lots of smoke in the brake zones, and I suppose that both of them are pretty much down on the worn tires here, and that might be why Larsson has such problems here defending. And now here comes the attack by Gaetano. He's out onto the main straight with a lot of speed. Can he take the speed into T1? No, he can't. Larsson stays in trouble, and Larsson on the one hand is definitely going to enjoy this. I mean, there's nothing like a fight in the last 10 minutes of a 90 minutes race. On the other hand, he's going to say, why me? Why me? Why is it me who has to fight here in the last 10 minutes? Can't I just go home, breathe a sigh of relief, and then chalk this up as a nice top 10 finish? And here comes the attack by Gaetano, and it's bound to be successful, but he's overshooting. He's overshooting. But Larsson can't manage to squeeze past. A seriously good move by Alexandre Gaetano. He was overshooting, but he got back into control of his Saline, who was virtually driverless there for a couple of split seconds as he went round the bend. But he got back into control, and now Larsson is into the wall, trying to take a lot of speed out onto the start and finish straight. He overdone it, and he's into the wall. That's going to cost him at least 2 or 3 tenths of a second. And they're now running up to another fighting group who I think are a lap down, though I'm not quite sure. I don't think that the 2 guys up are for position. Let's quickly check. Well, Adam Shaw is. Adam Shaw, that's the Koenigsegg you see. He is for position, so Gaetano might even make an attack on number 8. And he's now moving away from... And the other chap is Martin Kreinbrink, who is down in 16. So he lets Larsson past. So yes, Gaetano is indeed setting his sights on Adam Shaw. What a great finish here for AB Racing, for Alexandre Gaetano, who just swallowed Mikael Larsson and who is about to make an attack. He's just absolutely hell-bent on this attack here to get past Adam Shaw. He is really pushing all the buttons. He's really all over the place, Alexandre Gaetano. Look at the gap already to Larsson, and Larsson, I think, has realized... Ooh, and there's the touch! There's the touch between... Oh, and all hell breaks loose. There was a touch between, I think, Ken Bell there, at least one of the Game Racer Flat-Out Club guys, and between Adam Shaw... Oh, and Mikael Larsson is out of the game, and Mike Simeon is out of the game. And that could mean that the game is over, and Mr. von Glan has totally missed it. I'm sorry, guys. And that touch was once they got past the start and finish line. Yes, the game is over. I didn't have race control with me to tell me when the game was up. Jose warned me, but Jose, I didn't heed your warning. Sorry there, I got totally carried away. And I suppose that we have a race winner, Mike Simeon, but I can't be 100% sure. So, back with you, and I can see that the guys are being moved to the broadcast room, that the guys are actually entering the broadcast room here at Trois-Rivieres tonight. And with me is now Mike Simeon. And Mike, I suppose I can give you a big round of applause and congratulations for another race win, can't I?
Oh, thanks very much, mate. It was a bit of an ordeal.
Yes, we saw it on our screen. You had a lot of trouble getting past Martijn van Bommel.
Yeah, that's right. Put up a good fight. I got pretty close, touched him a few times. Hope it wasn't too bad for him. I wasn't going to capitalise on that. But I had to go for the moves, and there's just nowhere to overtake. So unfortunately, there's going to be a bit of contact.
Yep, we saw that. And then there was a trouble with Emil Selberg in the water blue Zonta, and you managed to slip past because Martijn definitely was held up there.
Well, yeah, that's right. I was just at that stage thinking, well, let's bag the points, and I'll just try and keep the pressure on, but not too much, not risk the points. So, yeah, I was just lucky, really, in the end, and then managed to pull out a bit of a gap. But I think Martijn had some damage. So.
Well, brilliant. So we read your race correctly. That's exactly how we interpreted your strategy. Going very, very close into the battle first, trying to find a way past, and realizing there's no way past unless we may end up both of us in the wall. And then you kind of drew back, waited for your chance, and when it came, expertly you took it. Well done. Let's see if Martijn is with us now.
Yep.
Brilliant. Martijn van Bommel, congratulations to a well-deserved second position. That was one hell of a fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, bit unlucky with some back markers who had some problems, and I saw it a bit too late, and I touched them and lost momentum, and Mike could pass me, and after that the tires were were too much gone to try to hang on. I tried it for a couple of laps, but to no avail.
Yes. We saw you sideways into some of the turns, obviously trying to just gain a footing there, but never quite got back. But still, a great result, second position. Well done. Though I'm afraid you have lost a bit in the points because Martin Kreinbrink seems to have had trouble early on. Don't know. Have you got any information on his race? He was down in 15 or 16.
No, not exactly. What he told me, there was some pile-up somewhere. And he crashed into it and raced over. So not much he could do about it.
No, he looked very slow and his car looked totally banged up. So you're bound to lose some points there. But you're still in the contention for number 2, number 1 and number 3. And also in contention is Gubbklubben. And good evening, Göring Johansson.
Good evening.
Congratulations to position number 3. From what we saw on the screen, it looked as if you early on realized I can't go the pace at the front completely. I'd rather stay in third position and take home the points.
I really don't know what happened. I have really great speed the first 6 or 7 laps. I thought this is going to be fun. Then the pace completely gone. I lost almost a second on my lap times. I didn't know what I did wrong. So I was furious.
Can imagine that, but you then found a new rhythm, so to speak, and just brought it home.
Yes, too bad my teammate was hitting the walls too much and was out. I have to thank to the lap driver. They do a very good job. They have looked in the mirror all the time. They was very good.
Yeah, except one. I had little problems passing Caetano at some point.
Yeah, but he was very often involved in very close fights, so maybe that we saw many of you top guys running up to the guys about to be lapped when these guys were actually fighting for position. It's really difficult, and we saw especially one scene where Mike Simeon was running up to his teammate, and he was in a fight for position in that chicane going out onto the start and finish straight, and really didn't know what to do, obviously, and tried to at the same time stay on the speed and at the same time let Mike pass, and it was some very close calls out there.
Yeah, most of them were very good indeed, and indeed they had the battles of their own, but most of them looked in the rear view mirror. My compliments to them indeed.
Yeah, thank you, Göran, for mentioning that. Sounds very good indeed. So, all three of you, congratulations to a superb race here at a very, very difficult track. And what about the rain? Did that really influence you three very much?
Oh,
No,
not much.
I hardly noticed until it had started coming down. I think it got to about 5%, and it really didn't have much effect on the grip level, so I just ignored it.
Martijn, your view?
Well, it didn't affect me as much as well. I was a little bit more cautious in the corners, but overall it was okay.
I don't think the rain did so much at the speed, but for me I was driving even worse than before when the rain. Just psychologically.
Yep. Because you were feeling unwell anyway, and then, oh no, rain. I can see that point. Okay, good on. Hope you recover from that bad night at Quebec. Well, you took home 3rd position, so it can't have been so bad.
I'm very happy with the results, yes.
Yep. And the 3 of you, thank you very much for the interview. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for a great race. And we had some serious trouble at the beginning with the broadcast again. Sorry for that. Thank you, José, for keeping it all together under great stress and bringing it back just in time. I think we missed the first 10 minutes in the broadcast, but after that I think we showed you a great race here tonight at Trois-Rivieres. This is goodbye from me. Yes, José.
No, I just want to say that for technical reasons, because I don't have the computer where I process the results and everything, they will be around Tuesday or Wednesday in next week, instead of tonight, like usual.
Okay, good to know that. So everybody has to wait a little. The good thing is we have a 2-week gap now until we meet again at Sugo, where, as usual, I suppose the rain will be either damp or very, very wet. So, good night from me. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great rest of the Thursday night. The winners uncork the champagne now. Enjoy your fame. And this is it from me. Bye-bye. And this was the STC race.